Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips, and we're changing things up a little bit and having a guest on my YouTube show. Many of you know Chef Del, my good friend and business partner, and many of you appreciate Del regularly when you make the mouth-watering dishes in his cookbooks at home. I appreciate him every day when I eat the mouth-watering dishes that we have here at Wellness Farm Home. Well, I've asked Del to join me here today to talk about an important topic that affects a lot of people, and that's weight gain and dieting and obesity and overeating, and I could list a whole lot more things, all the stuff that goes along with that. And he's a perfect person to discuss the topic because he has waged a very public battle with his weight during the last several years, and he's enjoyed some amazing success, and he's also had some amazing setbacks, which he's been very transparent about sharing with other people, and I think people have benefited from that. And I think that sharing some of this today, as well as some ideas that we have about how to tackle this issue, may help a lot. So before I let Del talk, I want to stress that the things we're going to share today are not a regurgitation of the eat less and exercise more, and let's review the eating plan. Make sure you understand the calorie density of oils. I mean, for crying out loud, you guys know that by now. And I don't want to minimize the importance of understanding nutrition, but telling you the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result, is I don't think the answer to this whole thing. We're going to try and shed some new light on an old topic. So I'm going to interview Del. Del, 10 years ago, you were topped out at 475 pounds. And you did that as a vegan. You overachieving vegan guy.
I wanted to show the world that you can do anything on a vegan diet.
Including gain weight.
Including gain weight. And there I did.
And you have done every weight loss program imaginable.
Oh yeah, I tease people in my weight loss cause I've even done the vegan Atkins diet. And I
that's
won't
not
tell
easy.
them what it is because it's not easy and it's not fun.
All right, so without going into all the detail, because it really doesn't matter, like this didn't work and that didn't work, but what do you think was the biggest problem? I mean, and going back to what I said in the intro, was it that you somehow just didn't understand the healthy eating thing yet?
Well, no, and I think we know. I've been around here for 10 years, and if anyone knows the healthy eating plan I do, I know what you're supposed to eat, and I know what that's supposed to look
So preaching that to you again is not the key
You
to
tell it
this,
to
right?
me one more time, I might even hit you in the mouth. But it's just I don't want to hear it. That's not my issue. Is telling me to eat less oil. I got that.
Then what was the problem?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that are part of the problem, and one of them is this. We tend to do things that are very unsustainable. When you preach to people about perfection and telling them you can never have dessert, you can never have a cookie, you can never have a beer or any of those things, you set yourself up for failure, one.
Because sooner or later you're going to do it.
Because sooner or later you're going to do it. And so the mindset then becomes, well, I might as well give up. There's no point in doing this.
Right.
So you've got to learn some balance, first of all, in all this. And you have to find something that's sustainable. So we tend to want to do everything in 21 days and 28 days. And that's the worst thing, because then we push ourselves and put unexpected demands on ourselves, and those aren't obtainable either.
Yeah, I've always said that if what's standing between you and success is a piece of toast, we're in big trouble.
We're in big trouble.
Big trouble.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think you've talked about in terms of what has interfered with success is not knowing what was driving the eating behavior sometimes.
And thank God for you, by the way, because, you were the first person that sat down with me and started looking at what we call triggers for eating and what causes this maladaptive eating, because I've done it. I lost 200 pounds eating the healthiest diet in the world. And then one day it stopped, and then we had to sort of look at and sit and look at, well, what's going on differently? And it really was the thinking patterns, that the old thinking patterns crept back in there. Maybe stress triggered it, maybe hard work. We work a lot of hours around here, triggered it, whatever. Something triggered it. And you have to start dealing with those triggers and with those thought patterns.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, I think a lot of people feel pressure to, well, I know that sometimes inadvertently we can all put pressure on people to eat better.
Yeah.
You should do this, you should do that. Oh, come on, I'm thinking, almost approaching it like I've got the secret and you need to follow my advice. But you've taken a lot of criticism from people who've said, you're not skinny yet, Del. And tell me what that does when people say things like that.
I'll never forget, I was at a plant-based event and sitting at a table with people, and this person across from me didn't know that I had lost 200 pounds. And he looks over at me and he goes, well, obviously you don't do this diet. And it's like you might as well have hit me in the chest. I mean, that's what it feels like. And it sent me into a spiral. It sent me into a spiral of like, well, obviously, I'm never going to be perfect enough, thin enough, or good enough to do this. So why would I ever want to get up in front of people and talk about weight loss or health or anything? Who am I to do so?
Well, and it's interesting because the things that people do that they don't realize are hurtful. It's like the perfectionism. People who develop weight problems or have other types of addictive behaviors or compulsive behaviors, they already have perfectionistic tendencies, and so 21 days of perfection is almost, or making the case that it has to be perfect. That's almost playing into what caused it in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't be perfect, so I'm obviously just a screw up.
Yeah, I might as well be perfectly unperfect.
Yeah. I'm really perfect at overeating.
I'm really good at this and doing it wrong, right?
Another thing, so the pressure to lose weight doesn't work. The thinking you're going to make some type of comment that's going to make you understand the negative parts of being overweight. Like, obviously, if we just review it one more time, not just the eating plan, but do you understand what you're doing to yourself?
Yeah, you've got to get on board. Those kinds of things, it's not the kind of pressure, and I think any kind of pressure is bad pressure. You've got to find the motivation within yourself somewhere. You've got to find the ability to change your thinking patterns, and that comes from within you. That's the hard work you have to do. So pressure's not what you need. You need support. You need some conversation. Sometimes you just need to vent.
Yeah.
We've made some discoveries with you sitting across the table from me and letting me just let it out. I mean, those have been very important.
Yeah, and you're doing that with some people too.
Yeah.
One thing I think shocks people is the not eating enough food thing.
If there is still a weakness I have that I'm getting better about, because there's two things. I know that you have to eat 6 meals a day. I know that that's the way to eat, But when you come from a point of being a starvation dieter, I was a starvation dieter followed by a binge eater all my life.
Starving binge.
Starving binge, because it's that rebound eating that gets you into the worst trouble. And so, and let me just say, 6 meals a day has greatly reduced that swinging pendulum. There's been nothing more powerful than that. Because I scheduled eating 6 meals a day, the hunger doesn't get extreme, you just don't go to that far end. And that's really making the difference in why I'm starting to lose weight again.
But it was hard to get you to eat enough food.
But she used to have to drag me out of my own kitchen and into the lunchroom to sit down and eat lunch with everyone else. And slowly, I've slowly come around to that. Because
I remember one day you said, I finally looked around and said, the skinniest people in this building eat the most food.
You will see that. The skinniest people I know, the healthiest, by the way, healthiest people I know are big eaters. And it's something that we've all got to get on board with, because that is what this diet is about. Yeah. It's fueling weight loss. It's a weird way to think about it. You're fueling weight loss.
All right, so now I want to bring us to another thing that I think is important to talk about. So, first of all, I said you've had amazing successes and setbacks. Okay, so amazing success is you lost 200 pounds, you kept it off for 5 years. And just to let you know how rare that is, the likelihood that a person who weighs 500 pounds will lose 25 pounds and keep it off for 1 year is like 0.2%. All right, so sitting next to me is a guy who lost 200 pounds, kept it off for 5 years. Amazing success. The amazing setback is that obviously still more weight to lose, and you haven't reached the zone yet. Okay, so but there has been a major turning point, and you would not know this. I know this because we work together every day. We've been very close friends for 197 years and shared a lot of stuff with each other, so I know it. There's been a huge shift where this just isn't so hard anymore. And what do you think, what happened? What was the big, one day you got up and said, aha, I now have the secret to this thing?
Well, I listen to everything you tell me and absorb everything that we talk about, and I know. And
do you hear that? Did you hear that? You listen to everything.
Well, she's a voracious reader, and you were reading some book on the brain,
the mind and the brain,
and neuroplasticity, and I started thinking about this concept of neuroplasticity, which states that you can change your thinking patterns, that you're not stuck or locked into this old way of thinking. So look back over my history, and it's been set in stone. weight loss, weight gain, diet, weight loss, weight gain, diet. It's been that pattern forever. So I get to a point where I get tired of being fat, and then I put myself on the diet and I do the extreme, and then I get really, really hungry, and then the rebound eating comes back in, and the weight gain comes back on.
How fun that was!
Rinse and repeat, right? Well, and then all of a sudden someone says to you, it's like, you can change the way that you think about this. You can change your response to situations and to stimuli. You just have to do the hard work to do that. And that's what I've committed to. And let me tell you something. That's been 5 or 6 months now, and since the beginning of the year, I've lost 25 pounds. Just because I've stopped looking at I've started looking at every response I have to the trigger. Stress, depression, fatigue, whatever, and then changing my response, and then my brain is sort of catching up to that. Automaticity, as you call it, is becoming the norm.
The healthy thinking is becoming the default.
Is becoming the default thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's so exciting. I mean, I'm thrilled because it makes me no longer a victim
of the next circumstance. Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful.
Well, and the automaticity thing, if you can really set your mind to the reprogramming, at some point in time it does become the default, and it becomes like so many other decisions that people make every day that they don't even realize that they make. I mean, you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you don't spend a lot of time debating about it. When the laundry basket is full, you put the clothes in the washer. I mean, we have a lot of things that we do on an automatic basis that we don't sit down and debate with ourselves about, that keep ourselves healthy, keep our bills paid, when I see the weeds coming up in the flower bed, I go out and pull them. I don't sit on the porch and say, gosh, should I take care of the yard this year, right?
Yeah.
So the automaticity sets in. So why are you the person to help people? Okay, so some people have this idea, and I understand it, that I'm the skinny one here. Well, I don't know if I'm skinny, but...
Gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, it's always nice of you to say. But why are you the person to help people with this?
Well, I think there's an identification factor, one. I think that people identify with my struggle. I think people can see that here's someone who is still on the journey and who has struggled and overcome some of those struggles. I think that's important. There's a lot of people like yourself who are really disciplined and have that part down.
Kind of aggravating.
And there's not much for you to say to me. You can't. Your struggle is there's no struggle there for you.
Well, with this.
With this, I mean, we offer things, but there's no struggle for you. And so, for someone like you, you have no comprehension of sometimes what's going on in my brain and how this is working and how it goes through. I can tell you, I've sat down with any number of people from our weight loss program and had conversations with them, and we're both having light bulbs go off at the same time because we both have that same kind of thinking pattern, the same kinds of triggers, and the same kinds of responses to those triggers.
Yeah. Well, and that brings us to here's what's going to happen next. So we've been talking about this a lot. We've been spending a lot of time on this issue because it affects so many people. And so here's what we're going to do. We are going to have a free session this week at 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. It's an interactive conference call. No, it's not free. It's $10. I misspoke. It's $10. Well, it's like next to free, right? So it's $10, and it's a 2-hour session, and I'll sort of be the facilitator. I'm going to let Del do most of the talking because I do think he's right about this, that I have a messy little brain, and we could talk about a lot of other things that go on there that need fixing, but it just doesn't have much to do with weight loss. And so Del will do a lot of the talking. If anything that we've said has resonated with you here, if you're saying these people are talking to me, you want to be on this 2-hour session, sort of like a mini workshop to share some more ideas with you. And Del is going to take on something this summer because he just finished writing his book and he can do it. We have a weight loss program. We have a weight loss certification course. This is a 4-module program that I put together for people who are trying to help people lose weight. A lot of types of concepts. I mean, it's 8 hours of this kind of stuff. So we put together a package deal where you get the certification course and the weight loss course and some personal coaching and assistance from Del. One-on-one conversations like he's mentioned that he's been having with some of the others that are already in our program, and it's a ridiculous price, but we want to get more people paying attention to this, because a lot of you have comorbidities. It's not just the weight, it's that you can't get rid of the diabetes until the weight goes away. You can't get the blood pressure down until the weight goes away. So we got to solve that problem before we can get to the others. So anyway, if you're ready to do it, just call us at the office, 614-841-7700. Somebody will talk to you about it. If you want to know a little bit more, because gosh, I've done a lot of these things in the past and they usually don't work out, and I'm a little bit skeptical, and okay, so I'll spend $10 and learn a little bit more, and then decide if I want to do anything else and spend more time with these people. That's fine too. But come and join us for this teleconference on Thursday. It's live. We'll record it, so if you can't listen to it, we'll give you the passcode to get into the recorded version, and it'll be interactive. You can ask questions and that sort of thing. So, anything you want to add?
I think this is one of the most worthwhile things because it's the first time that I feel hope that I can achieve permanent weight loss.
Well, you
First
achieved
time.
200 pounds of permanent weight
Well,
loss.
and we're going to do the rest of it.
Yeah.
That I feel like we can move forward and get weight loss behind me, become a previous conversation.
Yeah, and then move on to something else. Yeah.
Yoga.
Del hates hot yoga. He hates it. The first time he ever went to hot yoga, I'll just share the story with you. He was on his knees at the back of the room going, "Help me," through the glass, hoping that I would come in and rescue him. But actually, I love the yoga.
You do.
But then I'm the one who doesn't have the problem with the discipline on
Exactly.
the exercise thing. So
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
the reason why you went Del helping you. All right. That's all. Tune in to Thursday for more news.